As always, folks, we are joining you every Saturday morning here at Spotlight, brought to you by the Georgetown NAACP, as we discuss social, environmental, and racial justice issues impacting Georgetown, South Carolina, and surrounding areas. We got a lot to talk about today, folks. Juneteenth, upcoming primary elections, and of course, gun safety, mass shootings, and in particular, a shooting of an 8-year-old in Florence, South Carolina. Y'all, we got keep our eyes open, be aware out there as we go about our daily lives. But we're going to hear more right after this opening.
Heavenly Father, we ask you to put a hand of protection.
Well, folks, we're back, and while I talk, I'm going to go ahead and bring in our fearless leader, President Marvin Neal of the Georgetown branch, number 5520 of Georgetown County, South Carolina. And I see you are already bringing attention to our first topic, Marvin. Juneteenth is coming up, the newest federal holiday, but prior to it being a federal holiday, it was already being recognized as a Black African American holiday. I would even dare say Gullah Geechee, even though we're celebrating emancipation in Gullah Geechee community. But Juneteenth is so important to us. Those who don't know what Juneteenth is about, June 19th, 1865, the enslaved Africans and African Americans in Texas were informed that they were emancipated. And from there, it became Juneteenth, and it's been celebrated ever since. And in 2021, it became a federal holiday under President Joseph Biden. Marvin, we got some stuff coming up in Georgetown, and there's stuff going around the whole county, but we got a big event tied into Juneteenth. It's celebrating Juneteenth in Georgetown. What's going on?
Man, Juneteenth is getting it's ramping up a lot of attention and stuff. We're getting excited. You know, last year we started off with the Howard alumni kicked it off with the parade, and this year they'll do the same thing, which we encouraging everyone to support and make sure we get out and stuff, because we have to support each other. You know, we pretty much collaborate with the Howard alumni and stuff, and we're going to pick up on the back end after the parade and stuff, and just do some things. And I know they are also doing a fundraiser for the Howard alumni with some dinners and stuff of that nature. So we're asking everyone to support that also. And, you know, but right on the same street, adjacent to it, we'll be celebrating Juneteenth. We'll pick up from there, which is Janet Grant will be supporting us also in the Howard alumni. So we just asking everyone to come out. We got bounce castles. You know, we have all kind of treats for the kids, reading tables for children. I mean, just a slew of events and stuff that's coming up. You know, it's really pretty much a family festival. Mm-hmm. You know, which it needs to be a family festival. We need to celebrate and educate, make sure that our people and everyone knows the history of Juneteenth and why are we celebrating. You know, just not a holiday that's being celebrated one day of the year. This is a series of events that we are looking to put on this year and to continue on in the future and stuff. So.
That's right. And we're going to have a lot going on, folks. We're going to have bounce castles out there, water slide. We're going to have scooter rides, entertainment stage with gospel music and rhythm and blues, DJ. That evening, we're going to have a movie screening of Black Panther. So it's going to kick off at 12 noon. Well, the parade will start at 11 a.m. and come down Merriman Road and end at the Western Heritage Center, and a block over at Steelworker Square, the corner of Gilbert and Kaminsky Street. We're going to kick off the Family Festival with a press conference and then get into the fun and everything. We're going to have food trucks. We got folks coming out. I know one of the food trucks, the Caribbean food truck that you see off of off of 17 and Fraser near High Market. but also Donnie Green out of Bucksport's coming out. And Donnie, he can cook. And we got some other folks coming out with the food trucks. The craft vendors coming out. If you want to be a vendor, folks, you can call my number or email me. We're always looking for vendors. We got some folks already stepping up, and a bunch of other stuff. We just gonna have a family festival, have a good time out there, celebrating Juneteenth, the emancipation of enslaved folks in Texas, because they were the last to find out that they were emancipated, and we've been celebrating emancipation and Juneteenth ever since. And during the press conference, when we kick it off and have the ribbon cutting, opening up the family festival, we're going to talk about future events we're going to be doing in emancipation, because our ancestors' freedom is worth celebrating. Multiple events, and in Georgetown, the enslaved ancestors were informed of their emancipation on February 25th, 1863. So we're going to have special programs moving forward on February 25th. And of course, on December 31st with watch night services, and January 1st with special community events celebrating emancipation, because that is something to be celebrated. Ebony, good to see you.
Hey.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Good. Yes, Rich Hutchison, hope to see you all there. Yep, definitely come on out. This is going to be a big event in Georgetown. We're kicking it off with a parade at 11 a.m. on Saturday, June 18th, and then the family festival is starting at 12 noon with a press conference. Ebony, any thoughts about Juneteenth, about the history of it, about the events we're doing? Any thoughts at all?
I'm just excited. That's all I can say. We're inviting plenty of people. No matter the ethnicity, granted it's Juneteenth and it's celebration time, but it's also a time for education to just learn. And that's the point of diversity. We need to learn from each other so we can expand our mind and moving forward together. I look forward to have a really good time and hoping to see you all there.
I'm glad you mentioned the diversity piece, Ebony, because everybody should want to celebrate the emancipation of people. Everybody should want to celebrate the emancipation of any people, any persons. So I'm glad you brought up everybody is welcome to this event. Marvin, I think you were about to say something.
Yeah, I was just about to piggyback off Ebony, because we went to the Hispanic celebration with St. James Santee and stuff about a month ago. And that was really a great celebration. I learned so much about the Hispanic community and stuff. We invited them in strongly, the Jewish community, Club 142, just a different organization that we collaborate with and stuff. And just the Georgetown family and families that sits on the outskirts of Georgetown, or wherever you're coming from, come and let's celebrate, because it's a great opportunity. And rarely we get these opportunities, Maryland. Juneteenth is actually a holiday in Georgetown now that they did a resolution, and in the last county council, they are the last county council meeting and stuff, which meant a lot. Had one opposition, but to be expected. But it went well and stuff. So the 20th is a holiday in Georgetown, also a county holiday. So that's a great thing. I don't know what the city have done, but I know what the county have done.
That's right. So once again, yes, JD, we plan on making this a great family festival, and it's going to be a great event. And this is just the beginning of great things. We have plans already to add on to it next year with some great stuff. So let's come on out and support. And as anyone could see at the bottom, all of our sponsors, as of right now, Gallagher Chamber of Commerce. I can barely read it, y'all.
Zajay Adventures.
Zajay Ventures, NAACP Georgia South Carolina branch, Liberty Steel, Georgetown County Democratic Party, the AFL-CIO of South Carolina, and Common Ground of South Carolina. So we are all excited about this. Come on out. And Tylen's Health is going to be out there, y'all. They're going to be doing vaccines. And who else is? You already mentioned Club 142. There'll be voter registration. So y'all come on out and let's all have a good time. And before Juneteenth on the 18th, we have coming up primary elections on Tuesday, June 14th. Ebony, I'll start with you. Your thoughts regarding the primary elections and how important they are.
Well, actually, I am took a small break from a meeting, and we are talking about primary elections, and that, for the most part, the general public usually isn't very in tune with primary elections, why we even have them. But I will tell you this: you need to do it. The NAACP, who's a nonpartisan organization, we are encouraging people to get out and vote and to do it, because turnout usually is pretty low for the primaries, but it's really important. But before you just go out and vote, know what you're voting for and who you're voting for. Don't vote for people just because you know them or you saw something. And Miss Marilyn, I'm so glad you're putting up that information, because there's so many reasons to vote, y'all. There are different seats that are coming up, but if you can go back to the one, remember, go out and vote in every election, because it matters. And the way we look at it is this: if these politicians are not serving you, because they are public servants, then they need to be voted out. And that's the only way that you can do it. Just understand this: a lot of people think that my vote doesn't matter. It matters, because I know in the usually the presidential elections, you have the electoral college, and people feel like their vote doesn't matter. But in primary elections, local elections, your vote actually counts. So you have all the reasons why we should vote, Miss Marilyn.
Yep.
Those are some of the reasons.
Yep. So, we're going to talk about it in a few minutes, but gun safety is a huge issue, and it's becoming more of an issue. And it already has been an issue, but lately these mass shootings are just out of control. But also, we want folks to vote because we want to end the death penalty. That's a whole nother issue in South Carolina now. They're giving people the choice between the electric chair or firing squad. That's barbaric, folks. Equitable Public Education. This is nonpartisan, but the NAACP is a huge force regarding quality, equitable public education, create a living wage, legalizing marijuana, ending hate crimes, and expanding Medicaid. That covers all demographics, folks. That covers all ages. So it's important that we all get out, as Ebony was saying, in every election, local, state, and federal. Marvin, your thoughts regarding what's coming up on June 14th and why it's so important that we vote in every election?
Well, Marilyn, I just want to hit on a couple of things. The gun safety. Just recently in Florence, we had a gunman shooting at cars, targeting black people driving down the highway in cars, shot into a car, wounded a woman, and killed an 8-year-old. So we have to really make our voice known. I haven't seen a lot of activities in Florence, but I reached out last night to Florence, some of the people there. Some of the people reached out to me also. But the voice has to be louder when these issues happen, because this guy just can't get, charged with murder or attempted murder. This is multiple. Every car that he shot into is an attempted murder. And we have to really make sure we push that out there, and these sheriffs and stuff out there in these areas. You can't be so friendly with them that you can't address the situation, in your community. Because that's where we fall short at. I like to be your friend, but that's not important. We need to deal with the issues in our communities, because that's what affects us, our issues. Because no one is going to protect you or speak louder for you than yourself and those of the NAACP and organizations like these. So we have to really get out and fight against these ills in our community, because it's getting worse every day. You have children right now practicing how to defend themselves against mass shootings. These are first graders. One of the young men was talking last night, a kid, just explaining what he went through. An 8-year-old kid on television talking about what he went through during the shooting and explained it down to the T. Why he could not move, because it shot his friend right next to him, and he did not move. He played dead, And then shot his friend. Right. This is an 8-year-old talking about this stuff. So how traumatic does it have to get before these foolish politicians wake up and say these assault weapons do not belong anywhere? No weapons belong anywhere on the streets. If you're going to defend something, defend your home and keep it in your home. But bringing assault weapons and stuff out on the street is crazy. It should not even be in the hands of people unless you're a soldier in the military. And that's where I look at our law enforcement officers. Because there's no other reason for assault weapon than to deal with when you're dealing with mass killings and people in defense situation.
Very good, Mary Kid, for voting this week. And I'm glad that, Mary, you mentioned this. Early voting has started. This week, early voting has started. So before the 14th, if you're tied up with your work or you're going out of town, you can vote early in South Carolina. No excuses. Vote early voting. So you don't have to cite one of those 18 reasons anymore. You can just walk in and say, hey, I want to vote early. Congratulations, Mary Kid, for voting early. All right. Joan DeRay, you mentioned the Juneteenth. Looking forward to this celebration, but we also want to celebrate people who are going to vote early. I want to bring to everybody's attention on our screen. You see Learn More at Your Vote Matters. Go out and vote in every election. A coalition of nonpartisan organizations and individuals got together, and there's a postcard going out. We're passing out postcards encouraging folks to vote, because your vote matters in every election. But we also have a video for you to watch, and Ebony put the video together. So thank you, Ebony. Good job. But if you hold your smartphone right now to this QR code, it will take you to the video. So if you take a picture with your smartphone of this QR code, or if you have a QR code app, go ahead and scan that QR code, and it will take you to the video featuring our local citizens encouraging you to vote and talking about the issues of why you need to vote. So we're incorporating technology, into traditional means of getting the word out and encouraging folks to vote. And look for more of this in the future, y'all. We've got to reach all demographics. It is so important that our young folks vote, and also our traditional consistent voters also. But young folks, y'all got to vote. Ebony, your thoughts? Why are young folks, everybody needs to vote. Why is it important?
Yeah. It's important for so many reasons. You listed all of them, so many different things. When you start legalizing things, and I'm just talking about marijuana here for a minute, then you can start talking about expunging of records. We have folks sitting in jail for just a little bit of marijuana. That is crazy. I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to justify anybody's actions, but what I am saying is punishments have to fit what we consider crimes, okay? And what some folks, and we're paying for it. People always say, well, we can't afford universal health care. We can't afford this. We can't afford infrastructures. We're paying for it anyway. We got people locked up, costing us at tax dollars so much. We talk about gun safety. I was in a meeting earlier this week, and it said that on an average, every day, about 110 people are shot in the United States from gun violence, okay? And that is steadily increasing. Marilyn, can you put that back up on the screen there?
Sure.
Yeah. And so there's so many reasons why we need to vote. We're paying for not voting. So that's why you should vote. When you don't vote, we pay for it. Okay. Our kids, our senior citizens pay for it when we didn't expand Medicaid. All right. Hate crimes on the rise. We're paying for that. Living wage, they're steadily increasing rent, steadily increasing taxes where people can't afford their homes. Okay, equitable education, they say it's equitable, but Maryland, like you always say, it's not equitable for so many different reasons. And now they're even taking public money to try to privatize schools. So when you don't vote, understand that it affects all of us. And what we're seeing is that mostly younger Black males are not voting. All right. So I see Mr. Nathan Peterson out there. We are asking you, thank you for tuning in today on Spotlight, but please implore other Black males to get out here and employ everybody to do it. But that's where we see the lack of voting is in the male Black community. And we really need to make sure that if you're going to go out and vote, take somebody with you. Make sure that people get out there and vote.
But Ebony, you know, and you said the lack of voting is in the male Black community also, and that impacts everything else in the Black community also, because of a lack of voting, we accept, you know, less than the others are getting, and that happens too, even in our parks and recreation area, our highways, everything. It's impactful, you know, and not only that, once we vote, hold your elected officials accountable. You know, we are talking about education. I was looking at this young lady this morning coming out of college with $100,000 in college debt, trying to figure out how she's going to pay for it. You know, had the authorities knocking on another young lady's door, she owes $40,000. So they're still asking for this college-free education or acquittal of college-free loan from the president that he haven't responded to yet. You know, he have to respond to that. And it's not a Democrat Republican thing. It's a human thing. Education is needed, and we need to educate everybody possible. And it shouldn't be so high where it becomes not affordable, especially to the Black and brown community, because that's where the target is always at. You know, looking at expanding Medicare, like you talked about again, that's one of the most hateful things you can do is not expand Medicare. You know, it's suppression of health care, and it's sad that you have a governor, they run on things like that. You know, they run on things like that. Women's rights, you know, that is just off the chain. You just want to take women's rights away. We don't talk about men's rights. We talk about taking away women's rights. So who made us the king? You know, come on. We shouldn't be doing things like that. No one talks to me about they're going to take my right away. So why should I be taking yours away? And it's men that's doing it. Foolish men that's doing it. White men. That's who's taking it away.
Because it's about control. One other thing I want to point out, I know we're nonpartisan, but I also know that we trust the people. When you study the issues, we trust that you will make the right vote. But I also want to note that there is only one party actively suppressing our vote. And all of these issues we're talking about this morning, it boils down to who has the right to vote. And when we talk about voter suppression, we're talking about not only passing laws preventing people from registering to vote or the actual exercising their right to vote. We're talking redistricting, we're talking gerrymandering. All of that is a very strategic and conscious action to prevent us from voting. And I, for one, will never vote for a party at this time that is actively working to suppress my vote.
Thank you.
And we trust everyone to look at the issues and to vote the right way.
That's right. But you know, Marilyn, well, Mr. Neal as well, you mentioned a good point earlier. We're encouraging people to get out and vote. Again, not necessarily to who to vote for, but I will say this. Vote for people who are humanitarians. You know, ask the question, who has voted for or against the issues that you see affecting you in your community? Who's voted against it? And that's how you will know who to vote for and against. And what you said, Marilyn, is straight on point. There's only but one party that is working 24/7 to strategically and systematically suppress your vote and your rights. Good morning, Mr. Spain.
You know, and also Ebony, you know, just looking at where we are right now with the living wages that we are pushing for in Georgetown, from the county, you know, the sheriff department, you know, the EMS, fire department, school teachers, cafeteria workers, you know, these are the people that we are fighting for, that $15 an hour minimum wage that we call it right now. It's really more than that. But if we could get them to $15 an hour, they might could buy gas, you know, and that should not be a challenge, you know. And we went to the school board on the last meeting about that. And what's interesting about it, when you talk about it, it's like they're numb to it. You ask the board member asked the question, why can't we do it? You know, and you have someone briefing the budget stands up and say, because we never thought about it. But the people that's talking about it and never thought about it, they're making six figures. So they have no reason to think about it because it's not affecting them. So we have to make sure we raise our voice and make sure we continue to push the issue. And like Ebony said, those folks that's sitting on those school board panels and stuff you're looking at, make sure you go and sit in front of them when they raise their hands for to do or not to do. Bottom line, because that's what you have to hold them accountable to. Not what they say they're going to do, but what they actually do. If they want to raise that minimum wage, they can. The last conversation I had with the school administration was trying to give a raise across the board. We're not looking for a raise across the board. We're looking at bringing those that's not in an affordable living standard. We're looking to bring them up to $15 an hour. You know, when you're talking to someone walking on the hallway cleaning the district office right there in the mouth of the superintendent and everybody else that's serving up there, when she says she got 2 raises last year, and guess what she's at? $11 an hour. That's after 2 raises. You see what I'm saying?
That's
Right.
shameful. That's
Yes.
shameful.
It
It is very shameful.
It is sickening sitting there listening to them and watching them smile in these folks' face, pat them on the back while they walk down the hall while they're sweeping their floors. Blacks are made for more than sweeping floors. And if they're going to sweep floors, you need to pay them to do it. If they're going to clean kitchens, you need to pay them to do it. If they're going to cook, you need to pay them to do it. They're going to drive buses, you need to pay them to do it. Those are the most treacherous jobs in the school district.
Right. Yeah.
Because if those things don't happen, you shut down the school. The bottom line. If they go on strike, if they start striking, the bus drivers, cafeteria workers, and custodians, they will shut the school down. And that might be where we need to get to really get our message across, because they're not hearing you right now. I see them. I see the action. Some of the school board members are acting on it. They're pushing hard. You know, and I don't want to call on names right now because the other ones might come through. But let me tell you something. We need to hold these folks accountable. The superintendent, assistant superintendents, everybody up there. You got to hold them accountable.
Right. That's it, Mr. Neal. I'll tell you this right here. And you have some politicians that are saying, oh, we can't afford to expand Medicaid. Oh, we can't afford to do this. We can't afford to do that. But one thing I do notice time and time again is that when they say they can't afford to do something for the people, they steadily raising their income, all right, with our tax dollars, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 at a time. So if they can raise their income and have all these major budgets for furniture, for crying out loud, you got people dying, then they have the money to help the people. So just be careful about these politicians that say we can't afford to do something. We need politicians like in governors, like the one I think it's in Virginia, where with the prices of gas, they actually allocated stipends for their citizens just for gas. Yeah. We need to be doing things like that. You know, it's a shame that the prices of things are going up the way they are. And for me, for no reason, not saying for no reason, but I feel like these corporate companies, especially, which many times are influenced by politicians, they're being supported by some of these companies, have a lot to do with it. You know, I mean, and it's crazy. I have to pick on crab legs because I haven't had them in years until a couple of days ago. I didn't realize had gone up that high. And I'm thinking, why are crab legs that high? It's not like they catching them different. It's not like they getting them from a different source. They still coming out of the same ocean. So, but it feeds on into everything else. And everybody is just using this frenzy as a means of exploiting the people and giving the people less when they're the people that are paying for it.
I totally agree with you, Ebony and Marvin. And a lot of it comes down to the priorities of our elected officials. And unfortunately, too many of them answer to the big donors who give them money on specific issues, whether it's regarding gun laws or education, taking our public school money and putting into private schools. But the one thing that the people have is our vote. And if we all get out and vote en masse, whether it's a primary that's coming up Tuesday, June 14th, or in November, which I believe is Tuesday, November 8th, if we vote, we can counteract the money in politics. If we vote and put people in who will change the laws, such as Citizens United, and strike down these financial laws that are tipping the balance towards those with money who are not paying taxes, because the average billionaire is not paying taxes. They're not paying taxes at all. When the custodian that Marvin just talked about in the school district, who's just getting an $11 an hour, is paying more in taxes than a billionaire, this is a broken society. And the price we are going to pay in the long term is going to be greater than any of us can imagine. So it is important that we get out and vote, because this really, truly is a time when our democracy is in trouble. Our democracy, folks, is in trouble. It is so corrupted that people have normalized corruption to the point that they think it's normal for the billionaires to control things the way they do. No one should have this much control through money in politics. They've normalized corruption, and it has to stop because we will lose our democracy. We are well on our way to losing our democracy. And that's how serious this is, folks, that we get out and vote in every election, local, state, federal, primary, and general, and special elections. Because special elections, one of the reasons right now the city of Georgetown is majority Republican conservative, folks, is because people didn't get out in a special election and vote. You can literally see the numbers drop off. Y'all, this stuff is important. We got to make it putting a habit. Go ahead, Ebony.
It is important. And for those of you that are viewing, the 12 people that are viewing right here at this moment, thank you so much for coming on. That's why we have Spotlight. I'm so very appreciative to our president, Mr. Marvin Neal, for actually putting this thing together, and literally right on time before the pandemic, we started doing Spotlight. I can remember, trying to get together. And the reason for Spotlight is so people can be educated on what's happening, what's going on, because I'm being educated every day right here. I'm in Columbia, South Carolina, getting some education. And I learned some things this morning, and I'm thinking, if I didn't know that, I know that the majority of people don't know it. And I think that's part of what a lot of government, they bank on us not knowing any better, where they can just say things and do things. And we think it's normal, and it flies right underneath the seats, and nobody questions what they're doing because we don't know that that's not right. So continue to view Spotlight. Keep coming on. Keep coming, asking questions. Go into different things so you can learn better, because otherwise you can be hoodwinked at any time.
And Ebony, not only that, we are electing people that don't even understand what they're voting for.
That part, yes.
It is. You talk to some of the elected officials, you have to educate them on what you are asking them for that's in their hands. It's sad. And you have people running that wants to run because the position is open, not because they're qualified to run. We don't qualify, or disqualify them. But one thing, a voter should know what they're asking for. And what qualifies these people to run, can they get it for you? That's what qualifies. Some of them run because, I worked here or I did this. We deal with folks right now that on the jobs that don't even understand the rules on the job and grievance policies and stuff that affects them when they're being affected. They don't even understand they have a right to respond back to those things. So it's necessary that they get educated. We need to start reading and quit signing stuff and understand that what we put on paper, it comes back and haunt us if we don't get educated on it. And we need to start educating our community and make sure educate our children, because civic is necessary. Civic education is critical to the future of where our children is going and stuff, and the impact, because just look at our schools right now. Just look at our schools, what's going on, and we're making some difference in Georgetown. They're bringing in magnet schools, trying to bring in some different approach to education and stuff and educating our children, which I think is great. We need to really step outside that box and quit doing things because we did it that way so long and don't recognize that our failure is because we did it that way so long. Let's talk about, what's practical and move forward,
I agree 110%. And with that being said, I literally stepped outside of class for a few minutes. So remember, we are lifelong students. And I got to go back to class. So good seeing everybody. And I'll see y'all next Saturday.
Thank you, Ebony. We're wrapping up. So you enjoy the rest of your day and learn a lot.
Yes, ma'am. Bye.
Hey, Marilyn, where can we vote right now?
There are 3 locations in Georgetown County. I know one is in Andrews, and I don't know the other 2 locations. Marvin.
It's 4 with the election commission.
Oh,
office.
Yeah, that's right. With the election office.
We have one. Mm-hmm. There's one in Andrews at the Recreation Center. They're voting from 8:30 until 5 in the afternoon. All the hours is 8:30 till 5. You could vote from Monday through Friday. Andrews Recreation Center, Choppy Recreation Center. You could go and vote now. Put it in the bank right now. You could go to Parkersville Recreation Center in Waccamaw Recreation Center in Parkersville. Please go and vote now. You could go to the election office in Georgetown, right by Piggly Wiggly, across from McDonald's, and the dry cleaner there, and Goodwill. Go and vote now. Go and vote. Put it in the bank now. Encourage your children to vote. And be careful with the absentee ballot, because there are some things that have changed, Maryland, in this last bill that they just passed. You know, it's no longer 200 feet from the poll where you could pass up material. It's 500 feet now. It's 500. And absentee ballots, one individual could only turn in 5 absentee ballots. That's per the election cycle. One individual could only put out 5 absentee ballots. Anything beyond that is punishable by law. That's a crime. So we have to be careful. You know, I don't think they passed the law on passing out water yet, but I guess that'll be on the way, and they're still pushing for that.
You know, we want to encourage people to do the early voting, which is very important. But there's some issues with that bill that was passed too. But we're going to have to get folks in office so that we could go back and clean that stuff up also, folks. This is why it's so important that we vote, even though sometimes it's like they give you the carrot, but behind their back, they're holding a knife. And this is this law too. But right now, we need to take advantage of what's in place and go out and vote early. I just pulled up our early voting locations on scvotes.org. So folks, if you need to know where to go vote, go to scvotes.org, and they have listed all of the locations, as Marvin just cited, where you need to go to vote. Now, this is just specifically Georgetown, because we're in Georgetown. But if you go to scvotes.org, and if you don't live in Georgetown, you could pull up your county under early voting, and they list all of the counties and where you could go vote early. But you know, and I know I have to go, Marvin, but one thing I want to point out is, even though we have to clean up this bill a little bit, amongst a lot of laws that have been passed that are not really for the people, we first have to get people who are going to be held accountable in office. And I don't care if they're black or white, they need to do the work of the majority of the people. You're never going to satisfy 100% of the people, but doggone it, you need to be doing the work of the majority of the people. And that means we need to get out and we need to vote, because many of these laws, they're really about moving the goalpost. You know, this is saying early voting, but for us to get early voting without excuses, they took it from 30 days to 15 days. That's still moving the goalpost.
And took away Saturday.
And took away Saturday too. Saturday. So folks, it's things like that is why it's so important to vote, so we can get people in office who are not going to play these type of games. And it's not just about voting, it's other issues. They keep moving the goalposts, and it makes you feel like we've moved forward, but at the same time, we take 2 steps, they're pulling us back 1 step. And that means we got to get people in office who are not going to play these games anymore. Go ahead, Marvin.
And think about it, Maryland. They took away Saturday voting, right? You know, but check out what they did. They gave you from Monday through Friday. That's not targeting black and brown people in the working class. They took away that because that's voter suppression. They pretty much just created voter suppression. They didn't do us any favor. You know, they give us, 10 day window to vote in. That did not do anything for us but voter suppression for black and brown people, because they took away Saturday. That's critical for us, especially in Georgetown.
That's right.
You're looking at most of the country now. That fits the retirement community. That's not us. That's
not for working people.
That's not for working people.
It's not for working people, and and they'll smile in your face. And I know for a fact there was an elected official at an event who announced it, and he was just so proud to announce it. But when you start peeling away the layers of the onion, you realize you pushed us forward what we think is 2 steps, but you're really pulling us back a step. And it's not just voting, folks. It's other issues also. Like they will tell you that South Carolina has $1 billion surplus in their budget this year. But what they're not telling you is that we've given over $2 billion in tax credits to bring certain corporations here that are not paying a living wage. So we're in the hole. But they'll tell you there's a surplus, but what they won't tell you is what we've given away in tax credits to corporations that are not paying a living wage. So folks, we got to pay attention. We got to pay attention, and that's why we've got the vote.
And you know what else, Marilyn? I listened to just the budget readings, in the county, the city, and the school district. And a lot of the money that's coming in, positions are being created now. Think about it. Because of the surplus. But yet still you have not heard them raising those minimum wage to $15 an hour. But if you notice the position that's being created, it's not for us. It's not for us. It's being created. It's still the good old boy system. And we have to be careful with all the nepotism that's going on. All the nepotism. Because every position that's been created, if you were to peel back the layer of the onion, Marilyn, if someone's sitting there at the top with six figure, they're bringing their children, their wife, or somebody in under the rug. Bottom line. And that's the way they're doing it, through the back door.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? When you create positions and don't open it to those that's already serving within the school district, external only, what are you saying?
Yeah.
That's flat out discrimination. Bottom line.
And how do you impact? You've got to put people in the seats who hire the people who make those decisions, and you got to hold those people accountable. And it starts with us as the voters. We are responsible. I saw something on the federal level, and someone was asked something recently that happened on the federal level, and they were saying, well, what can we do? We don't have any way that we can influence this. And someone answered, we're the HR department. What does that mean? That they're responsible for us. We hire these people by electing them. That means we can fire them by removing them from office and electing somebody else. We are the human resources department when it comes to elected officials. Marvin, I'm going to have to get on out here and everything. I'm going to just throw up Juneteenth again, folks. So you're going to be hearing a lot about Juneteenth for the next 2 weeks. We're going to bring some folks on, and I'm on the Delegate Chamber page. I'm going to be interviewing some folks with quick little commercials and stuff. So stay tuned, but come on out because Juneteenth is going to be happening in Georgetown this year. We're starting at 11 a.m. with a parade, 12 noon with press conference, and we're doing a ribbon cutting to open up the family festival with all the good stuff for your family to come on out and celebrate the emancipation of our ancestors and have a good old time. So y'all come on out and join us. Marvin, it's been good, as always, to talk to you. JD Spain, I know you had to go, but if you're hearing me, thank you for joining us and supporting us. And also to all of our viewers, Nathan, Mary, Aretha, y'all, and Cheryl, thank you for coming on and saying hello to us and sharing your comments. Joan, Doré, we hope you feel better, Joan. Get well. And Risha Hutchison. Yes, Marvin.
It's one thing, 2 seconds. They're also hiring principal positions in Maryville and Carvers Bay Middle School this year.
All right. I'm glad you mentioned that.
They already hired for Pleasant Hill.
So you said Carvers Bay
Middle and Maryville Elementary.
All right, y'all. That's
critical that the community gets out and voice their concerns about who they bring into these schools.
It is
critical.
That's right.
These are decision makers for the future of your children.
It's
critical that y'all get out to these community meetings and voice your concerns and send emails to the school district and letters on who you want to see serving those positions. They're going to do what they choose to do, but you can influence that by what you do also, because you put those school board members up there who's going to vote on that personnel roster. Bottom line, the school board members is the boss of the superintendent, and we are the boss of the school board members. So overall, citizens, you are the boss. So make sure you voice your concerns to your school board members who you like to see in a position. You voice your concerns to the superintendent, human resources, and you just voice your concerns out there. You're asking the pastors of all these churches. Make sure you voice and push out there. Get these folks out to these meetings. School board meetings are critical. It's critical. County council meeting, city council meeting, Liberty Steel.
The zoning board, yeah, BZA, the zoning board of zoning appeals, critical this week to what's going on in Georgetown with the steel mill and good paying jobs. So yeah, very good point, Marvin. We need to come out for all of these meetings. We know it's hard, folks. If you can't go, send somebody else. If you can't go, send somebody else so that they can come back and tell the story and keep the community informed. Miss Patricia Lennon Cox, thank you for coming on and supporting us.
That's my classmate, Marilyn.
All right, now.
That was one of my classmates. But there's also a community meeting being established by the AFL-CIO in collaboration with the NAACP on the 13th of June at the Steel Union Hall. The 13th, it's a community meeting to address 6 o'clock. To address the concerns that we still have about the Liberty Steel situation. So we need to really follow up and make sure we stay vigilant to what's going on and stuff. Because Jim Clement made a statement walking out of the meeting the other night that it's not over. So it tells you that, and this is a single-handed county councilman that just sit there and said it's not over, whose wife chaired the zoning board of appeals. So he is angry now because she was the only one voted to shut down Liberty Steel and change that zoning. So it tells a story. It's a personal thing with them. That's why you got to get out in that city and vote those folks back out of office. They are just flat out nasty, and they don't care nothing about you. The bottom line.
That's right.
So don't be fooled about it. Vote them out of that. Those folks you voted in the last time, you better vote them out.
We need to remember we can no longer normalize unethical behavior. We can no longer normalize corruption, folks. All right, folks, it's been good. Thank you, Marvin, for joining us today. Everybody, Juneteenth is on the 18th. The 13th is a community meeting, 6 p.m. at the Union Hall. The 14th is primary day. Go out and vote. Every election matters, folks. Your vote counts. All right, everyone. Thank you. Have a great day. Marvin, I'll see you later.
Take care, Marilyn. Thanks.
All right, you too. Thanks. Bye.